Greetings all hellions and sinners, I am Dan, your resident Welsh Helliverse expert. You know, as much as I enjoyed Season 2 of Hazbin Hotel, I suppose my biggest criticism for it would be how certain characters weren't given as much attention as perhaps they ought to have. Now, obviously this is an account of the 8-episode limitation, which is something I hope Amazon changed their minds on since now they've seen how much of a success the show has been for them, but when a character gets set up but has no impact on the final outcome, it does make you feel somewhat disappointed. And I think you all know who I'm talking about.
I'm going to kill every last one of them.
Yeah, Lute was definitely pushed to the side in this season. I remember being so disappointed with how little Lute had to do, especially with the ending of Season 1, and then in Episode 2, it felt like she was being built as a genuine threat. But by the time we got to the final episode and during the final song, I was thinking, wait, are we really not getting anything from Lute? And when she does finally do anything, it all happens in the background while the focus is on Abel. I guess the idea is that she is going to be a threat in a later season, but maybe don't tease us with arguably the best song in the season so early in the run. If we had had Gravity later on, like have that as the last song to show that Lute really has broken, I don't think fans would have complained as much. But no, we have to wait until Season 3 to get that resolution. I'm just saying as a Doctor Who fan that I've been burned too many times with this type of storytelling, so apologies if I sound bitter. So what could they do with Lute in the future? Where could her story go? What direction could they take her, and could she still be a potential threat? Now, admittedly, I don't like these types of videos because whenever people make these sorts of theories and then the show doesn't do what they've planned in their heads, then they see it as the show being badly planned out and that the professional writers who do this for a living know nothing about what they're doing. However, as I have a degree in creative writing, it is an interesting challenge to see where I would take the story. Now again, I'm not saying that this is the way Lute's story should go. She's Vivzi's character, she can do whatever she feels is right. This is just a fun writing experiment, so take that as you will. I suppose the first thing to tackle would Lute's actions at the end of the season. Because remember, Lute's attack at the end when they were trying to destroy Vox's machine could have been detrimental to the whole thing. She literally just went down there and immediately started fighting Vaggie, which is something Heaven was trying to avoid. Yes, Abel stopped her and put her back in her place, but that doesn't mean there shouldn't be any repercussions. She had gone against the Seraphim's orders that were given in Episode 2, and I'm sure as hell that she might have noticed that. So in Season 3, Lute would be in disgrace. She has now been demoted further down the ranks and she is now broken. But she still has that voice of Adam pushing her on and affecting her thinking, which drives her to a very dangerous decision. Remember how she had promised to kill every last one of them? What if that doesn't just limit it to the denizens of hell? What if now she sees someone else as a threat and a barrier that prevents her from fulfilling her goals? The Seraphim. After all, it was Sarah that ended the exterminations and is now allowing for sinners to enter heaven if they are successfully redeemed by Charlie and the Hazbin Hotel. These are things that go against everything Lute stands for as an exorcist, so maybe the only way in which she thinks she has a chance to take her revenge is to get Sarah out of the way. As far as she's concerned, the war between heaven and hell isn't over, so she's gonna want to keep that going in order to feel fulfilled. Now I'm sure you're all thinking, would Lute really be crazy enough to want to kill Sarah to get what she wants? Honestly, at this point, I wouldn't put it past her. Lute is clearly a fanatic. She is devoted to Adam's views and opinions on sinners, and she takes her role as an exorcist seriously, but when someone is so deep into their ideology and the system is not allowing them to express their views and feelings, these people will come to the conclusion that it's not them that's the problem. It's the system, and therefore the system needs to change. We've seen this happen so many times throughout history, and sadly we're still seeing it now, so it wouldn't be that much of a stretch. Now, I doubt she would go for the speaker, that's too far up the food chain, but we've seen enough times in Season 2 that Lute's patience with Sarah's decisions has been diminishing. I mean, look at this shot at just the idea of holding her army back so that Emily could negotiate.
Thank you, Sarah.
That to me is a very dangerous shot to focus on. And then that begs the question, what about Emily and Abel? Now, admittedly, this is where my idea for Lute does stumble, because I don't just want her to be this unrepentant killer, but then you do wonder, where would she stop? She doesn't exactly respect Emily, and I don't think Abel just wearing his father's helmet is going to work a second time to get her to yield. So maybe in a feeling of desperation, Emily and Abel have to go down to hell to talk to Charlie about what has happened, maybe having to stay down there for a while to avoid Lute's actions, and since they're now in hell, that can give Lute the excuse to try and murder them as well as the rest of the sinners whenever she comes down. Then when she is stopped, her punishment would be to spend eternity in hell itself. Maybe even give her the Lucifer treatment so that she can no longer harm them, thus leaving the door open for a potential redemption arc for Lute. But like I said, this is just a fun writing experiment. I have about as much control over these characters as you do, and these decisions are not going to affect the running of the show. Hell, if I were in charge, I'd be building up Charlie and Vaggy's wedding by the end of Season 3. I just feel that if Heaven is to keep playing a vital part in the show, then there has to be something going on up there to run parallel with the main plot. I know that Valentino is going to be the main villain in Season 3 and then Velvet in Season 4, I just think there needs to be something else going on in the background to all of it. Or maybe Lute does something stupid that releases Rue and that's how she becomes the main villain in Season 5.